we were talking about no limits and the gifts that you were given. Now, some people are going to be offended by some of your jokes and the fact that you're picking on yourself because you're deaf. Turn off, okay? Because this is reality, you know. And today, you know, I had a speaker come in and he was talking about Stubby, the guy with no arms, no legs.
Oh, okay.
And he said to the audience, he wants to be called Stubby.
Yeah.
That was his military name.
Yeah.
And he enjoyed calling that. And the person in the audience was arguing with the speakers. That's how do you say, insensitive?
Insensitive.
You can speak better than I can. That's insensitive. How could you call him Stubby? He's like, but that's what he wants to be called. And she was just going on, she was very young, about the fact that he was referring to him as Stubby. Now, some people are going to be offended to the fact that you're making jokes about your hearing loss. But you look at life a lot differently. And you took that gift and you created no limits. What do you do with these deaf kids?
Well, let me just tell
Children,
you, I've had a
kids.
woman come up to me and said, you shouldn't make fun of deaf people. I'm one of them. You know, but you just, it's all in how people are listening. She wasn't hearing what I was doing. She was too busy judging that she couldn't enjoy the show. So, but when No Limits came around, a friend of mine, her name is Michelle Chrissy. She's a deaf educator. She's a doctor, Michelle Chrissy. And we started out as a national theater group because deaf children have no place to go for camp. And the theater...
Well, they didn't hear about it.
No, they didn't hear about it.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to hit him.
I'm sorry.
Close your eyes. I'm going to beat the crap out of him.
This is the relationship we have. I always have, I don't know, it's my Tourette's.
No, Tourette's.
Fuck you. All right, no, go ahead. I didn't swear.
No, but the deaf children had no place to go to interact with other deaf children. Most deaf kids that have cochlear implants and digital hearing aids.
Stop.
I'm not talking about deaf ASL kids. I'm talking about deaf kids with spoken language.
Wait, you said coconut hearing.
Cochlear implant.
What is that?
That's a surgery that they actually replace your cochlea with another.
Oh, cochlear.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying coconut.
Yeah, the coconut.
That's why it threw me off.
They replace your head with a coconut.
Am I?
Wow, I can hear. Oh yeah, where's the monkey?
I can hear the ocean.
So it's the newest device, and so it enables deaf children to have spoken language. Now the problem that we have with it is the government will not give us funding because they think because they have hearing devices they're fixed. What they don't know is that when they take the device out, they are completely deaf, no sound. So it's funny, it's hard because deaf people want you to sign. Hearing families have deaf children, they've never met a deaf child or person in their life. They get scared because they don't know what the resources are. And we work with low-income families because these kids, we get them at 5 years old, they don't even know their names. So we have to teach them the language and work with them. And so, you know, if you're 5 years old, a hearing child would have a vocabulary of 5,000 words, a deaf child, none.
Not even their name. I didn't
Not
even
even
think
their
about
name.
that. They don't, how do they even know what to call?
They don't. So and it's really cool because when they do start speaking, and when they get them to start talking, my favorite part is not that they know their name, it's that they can say mom or dad and I love you. And when the parents finally had the connection, a communication connection, a verbal connection, they just break down.
And you do that with these kids?
Not just me, it's the whole team.
But you and your team, but you started No Limits.
No, Michelle started No Limits.
Okay, so she started, you jump in on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
And so what's the first thing you do with them? I mean, because they come in deaf, or do they come in with a hearing aid, or you help them get
They
the
come
hearing?
in, no, sometimes, this is the sad part. Insurance company won't pay for hearing devices for these kids. They won't pay the $6,000 for hearing devices, but they will pay $100,000 for that cochlear implant because it's surgery.
Okay.
this is bizarre to me,
Yeah.
they consider hearing devices cosmetic. Do I look beautiful? Thank you.
Yeah. Look at my new ear.
I know.
Yeah.
It's sad. The ignorance is still out there. And the bigger ignorance is of the deaf speak. And that's, I am. I'm spoken language. And that's how I got to stay in this world. And my kids, they have spoken language, but I have to admit, when they get to be teenagers, they get confused. Where do I belong? Do I belong in the deaf world? Do I belong in the hearing world? But most of them, they end up picking up sign language when they get older, because if you teach them sign when they're young and teaching them voice, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. So we get their voice and they can pick up sign later. It depends. I never, ever given advice to a parent that says, well, he should this or he should that. Here's your options. Research it. Think what you think would be best for you and your family. I know what it was like to sit at a dinner table and have no connection with my family members. And then I found out when I got older, I go, Mark, what did you guys talk about at the dinner table? He goes, we didn't, we just ate.
I was
I
chewing
didn't
going
miss
on.
anything. I didn't miss a thing.
Which is rare. You come from an Italian family.
I
They're
know.
always talking and screaming.
I know.
I'm surprised they didn't cure your hearing at that table.